Welcome to the 11th week of the semester. We're in our second week of Module 3 in our book. I love the picture again of the Cité Universitaire, la résidence universitaire at the Sorbonne in Paris. This week we're going to do three things. We're going to start actually with a review of possessive adjectives. Then we're going to talk about the irregular verb venir, and finally the preposition de. So just to remind you, last week we talked about possessive adjectives, and remember, in French, possessive adjectives agree in gender and in number with the nouns that they modify, not with the owner. So what you need to look at is the thing that is owned, the thing that is possessed, to be able to know which gender, masculine or feminine, or which number, singular or plural, to use. The example that we looked at was Mon frère et ma sœur aiment le foot. Since the word frère is masculine and the word sœur is feminine, we have to use the masculine form of my for frère and the feminine form of the word my for sœur. Similarly, ils skient avec leurs cousins et leurs oncles. Because the word cousin is plural, we're going to use the plural form of leur with the s. Because oncle is singular, we're going to use the singular form leur without the s. Habitez-vous avec votre sœur et vos parents? Do you live with your sister and your parents? Because sister is singular and feminine, we use the singular feminine form of your, votre. And because parents is plural, we use the plural form of your, vos. The important thing to remember when you're talking about the third person singular is that in English we have two possessive adjectives, and they correspond to the gender or the sex of the possessor. We say his or her. His for guys' stuff, and her for women's stuff. French, however, has three possessives, and those correspond to the gender and the number of the noun that is possessed. In other words, il aime son chien. Son here does not have anything to do with il. It has to do with chien. Chien is masculine and singular, so the word here is masculine and singular. It would be the same with elle. This means she likes her dog. It could also mean she likes his dog. He likes his dog, but it can also mean he likes her dog. The meaning is usually clear from the context. Il aime sa maison, elle aime sa maison. And we could have the same confusion here, but usually again, from the context we can tell. Because maison is feminine, the word sa is feminine. Il aime ses oncles et ses tantes, elle aime ses oncles et ses tantes. Because both oncle et tante are plural, we use the plural form of his or her. And again, the context usually tells you which we're referring to. Par exemple, Alice habite une grande maison. Son jardin est magnifique. We know that we're talking about her garden because the Alice is feminine. However, because the word garden is masculine, we use this form of the word her. The next thing I want to talk about is the irregular verb venir. Remember we said that an irregular verb is a verb that doesn't follow a nice, neat pattern. In Module 2, we learned about first group ER verbs, where the ending on the end of the verb was, the infinitive was ER. And we could take off the ER, and in any number of cases, we could add the same endings. That's not the case here. We have to make a spelling change, and the endings are entirely different from what we've seen before. Je viens, tu viens, il, elle et on vient, nous venons, vous venez, il et elle viennent. Okay? The verb means to come. Par exemple, je viens de Boisé. Nous sommes français, nous venons de Paris. Est-ce que vous venez du Japon? You'll notice that in each case with the verb venir, and we've seen it before with possessives last week, we have this word. This is the preposition de. Now, the easy way to remember what a preposition is that it's a preposition is a word that tells a relationship between two other words. That's a little complicated. The easiest way to think about it is to think about prepositions as being everything that you can do to a box. You can be on the box. You can walk around the box. You can stand in front of the box or behind the box or next to the box. You can jump over the box, and etc. All of those words, in front of, behind, around, over, etc., describe different relationships between you and the box. That's what a preposition does. It describes a relationship between two things. The preposition de has three meanings in French. First, it's used to mean the origin of something or someone. For example, je suis de Boise. I'm from Boise. Or, elle vient de la bibliothèque. She's coming, as in she's coming back from, the library. Her starting place was a library. That's where she's coming back from. The preposition de can also be used for possession, and we saw this last week. It literally means of, but we use an apostrophe S in English. For example, voici la voiture de Frédéric. Here is the car of Frédéric. In English, we would say, here's Frederick's car. Je travaille à la bibliothèque de l'université. I work at the library of the university. Or we could say, I work at the university library, the university's library as well. The last meaning that the preposition de has is when it's used with the verb parler. And when you have the verb parler de, it means to talk about something. For example, nous parlons beaucoup de la politique. We talk, or we are talking, a lot about politics. Vous parlez du président. You, and remember that's plural or formal, are talking about the president. One thing that you need to know with the preposition de is that there are some contractions that you have to make in certain instances. When the preposition de is followed by a definite article, and remember the definite articles are le, la, l'apostrophe, or les. When it's followed by a definite article, you have to make certain contractions. So, for example, if you have de and the definite article le together for something that's masculine and singular, you have to make the contraction du. Par exemple, Arnaud vient du cinéma. He's coming back from the cinema. When you have the preposition de and the definite article la together, there's no contraction. Arnaud vient de la librairie. Same with the l'apostrophe. Arnaud vient de l'université. Arnaud is coming back or returns from the university. But when you have the preposition de and the definite article les together, you have to make the contraction des. Arnaud vient des cours. He's coming back from his classes. In English, contractions are not necessary. You can say, I do not like that, or you can say, I don't like that. Both are okay. In French, when there's a contraction that's possible, you have to make it. It's not a choice. You can't say de le. You have to say du. Similarly, you can't say de les. You have to say des. This is the end of our lecture for this week. Take a look at this information several times. Between the verb venir, the possessive adjectives, and now the preposition and contractions with de, we've got a lot going on in this chapter. I'll see you in lab.